The Soviet Union itself is no more.
The United States military has begun strikes.
Light them all up.
Считаю, что для современного мира однополярная модель не только неприемлема, но и вообще невозможна.
Народные республики Донбасса обратились к России с просьбой о помощи. Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
The Russian military is taking chips from dishwashers and refrigerators to fix their military hardware. Russia's industry is in tatters.
Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been.
We're back. Greetings to all of our viewers and listeners around the world. It's a pleasure to be with you all here. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, like, comment, subscribe, and share this stream. Make sure we get this far and wide. This is sure to be a great episode today. And I want to, again, greet you all. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel for my channel, which is, of course, part of the DD Geopolitics family, please do. At Christopher Halali Official on YouTube. And we have a lot of big things coming up in the coming weeks, a lot to bring you. We just had one of our great team members in Budapest for the historic elections in Hungary. We brought you that, as well as a live interview with Shay. If you didn't see that, check out our recent stream from Sunday with Sarah. We'll be back tomorrow night with the one and only Professor Sayyid Mohammed Marandi, live from Tehran, who is going to give us the scoop on what happened in Islamabad, and of course the ongoing situation in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, which of course is the ongoing naval blockade that the Trump administration has enforced now. So we'll see who's going to run the blockade, who's going to blink first, and where this brinksmanship is heading. But for tonight, I am really honored to bring on my dear friend and friend of the show, friend of DD Geopolitics, Yana Shumovska. So let's bring her on here. Let's add her onto the stage. Welcome, Yana.
Hey, great to see you, Chris.
Great to see you too. Great to have you on the show. For those who don't know, Yana is a independent journalist now, but was a journalist at Zvezda, which is the Ministry of Defense media for the Russian Federation. And she's always been on the right side of everything. So she's definitely part of the DD Geopolitics orbit for sure, in terms of her opinion and her perspectives. But I want to give her an opportunity to introduce herself to you all. I finally dragged her out to come onto Western social media more so. So hopefully she's going to, this will not be the last time that you see her. Guaranteed. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Yana, for our audience here.
Well, actually, it wasn't you. It was Pete Hexet with his Christian crusade that like blew my mind so much that I have to go and fight it, because now it's not about Christianity. All these crusades, it's not what we do. Definitely not Orthodox Christians. And yes, I am now independent, and I am so-called that famous Russian propagandist. Officially in the I think it's in 16th of section package, something like that. So I'm on the list. And I was working for Russian Ministry of Defense, Russian media, state media outlet, and I traveled to Belgrade several times. Was shielded by Ukrainians. When I first arrived, that was quite an experience. When you arrive and your taxi driver is like open the trunk and shows you I think it was French missile, I don't remember. But yeah, he was like, look what I have, what a souvenir. And I was like, just for a person who came from Moscow, where is no sirens, no nothing, to see this taxi driver kind of making fun of the thing that almost killed him like half an hour ago, was like, what a people. What a life, what a people. That, that's how you begin to realize, no, this SMO thing is real. That's what people go through like every single day, and that's how you realize that Donbass, with all these 8 years of life, it was also real. I suggest all of the Russians go and travel to them, like at least Belgrade, to understand what it's like to be shielded by missiles, and maybe you would less want to go to France.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, it was. I also traveled to Kursk region straight after the invasion. We hunted down literally drones with the territory defense guys. Also quite an experience. And I know you traveled yourself, but already when it was overtaken back by Russian military, and you talked to the priests, the war priests. Amazing people. I don't know how they survived this life. I mean, after that, they still believe in humanity. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and I appreciate their work very much. So yeah, that's basically my career before I left, to be able to call Zionists for what they are. Unfortunately, Russian state media is famous for being very diplomatic and, trying to kind of, let's not call them names. Less freedom than in American in American media, even though I don't really like corporate media in the United States. But one thing that I do appreciate in America is that at least you can call someone straight away, like how you think they are, what they think they are. So I wish we had that in Russia. Maybe we will get it one day.
Very good. Tell us a little bit about your sort of perspective about the Middle East. But before we get to that, I want to speak about, we're going to talk about the Middle East in depth with you for sure. But I want to talk about, you had an interesting childhood. You grew up with Muslims in Russia, right? Tell us about how, in the Western context now, there's been a big fight that's been artificial about Christians and Muslims. They are enemies. There's all this immigrants and things like that. But Muslims are also indigenous to Russia. They've been part of the Russian Empire for over 1,000 years. And this is what not only, people speak about, but also the president, and other leaders in Russia, even Patriarch Kirill speaks about this. But tell us about, what does it mean to also have the Russian nation be comprised of Orthodox Christians as well as Muslims who are as well indigenous to Russia and are Russians equal to the Slavic Orthodox?
It was so great. My experience with growing up surrounding by my father's friend. They were his besties. It was so great. So I literally called one of my friends, his friends, my kind of God's father, even though he was and still is, he's alive, everything is good with him, Muslim. I call him my God's father, and to me, his real name is Musa, but to me he was Dede Misha, Uncle Misha. So that's how it was. And for those who don't understand, that's the bond, that's the family, and we are like the most famous now. It's this region is struggling because of the flood. It's a big tragedy in Russia. Dagestan, the most popular place to travel for all of the Russians, because it's the hospitality and everything, so for those like Pete Hexit, my favorite for now person in the West, to tell that the West, white, whatever, Christians cannot live alongside under one roof with Muslims. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard, because we've lived not only for centuries together, we fought together many wars, and we have this very well. I am part of my family is Donski Kazakhs, and they are famous for being Christians. They used to be a protector of the Tsar, emperor, and also the Christian belief, the Orthodox religion. But we went together actually in that museum, and I myself found out that there were battalions of Muslim Kazakhs. So see, it's a long fighting, spilling blood together, sharing bread together. So the most horrific lie that the West came up with is that Christians cannot be friends, cannot be family, one nation with Muslim people. That's crazy.
I absolutely agree. On that note, I want to play our first clip today, because then I want you to respond to it. I think this is an important one, and it was very famous about, I think about 2 years ago. But let's play it for our viewers who haven't seen it before.
Отче наш, иже еси на небесех, да светится имя Твое, да приидет царствие Твое, да будет воля Твоя, как на небеси и на земле. Хлеб наш насущный дашь к нам днесь.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم.
Спаси, Господи, люди Твои, и благослови Твоей победы православных христиан на сопротивление Отдалия.
So we are Russian. God is with us, right? So
Yes.
What does that video say? What does that video say to you as a Russian today, as a patriotic Russian, as a Russian who's supporting the special military operation, where you have and to show an image here, we have here. Let me just pull this up so that we can show it together. Here we have General Abdialodinov from Akhmat, a Chechen a general in the Russian military, with his friend Igor, who's also my friend, and we're in contact. And you see behind him the flag of the Chechen Republic and the flag of the Russian Federation, and the unity that he's trying to promote, which I think is very important, the unity, Christian and Muslim brotherhood. As we know, there were 2 Chechen wars, but now there's a big bond. There's a big bond between the two. There's a lot of healing that has gone on. So I want you to speak about this. What do you think about this now in contemporary Russia?
Well, first of all, for those who will now hear, like, we had these 2 wars with the Chechens, I need to add some context. It was straight after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and our country it is a well-known fact. The West, Americans, CIA, like ex-agents, whatever, admitted like 1,000 times. Our country was completely sold to the West, to the CIA, and that was a plan to kind of rip it apart, to balkanize my country, and to use these different ethnic groups, and in this case, Chechens, to divide us. And I'm afraid they did a pretty good job. So therefore we had 2 wars. But thank God we found wise leadership in case Russians, VVP, Vladimir Putin, and in case of Chechens, Kadyrov father, not the older, he was actually assassinated, and then his son, I think Ramzan Kadyrov was at that time something like 20-ish, something. He was very, very young when he had to took this giant responsibility. He did a great job. Well done, man. So yeah, that's the context of 2 wars. So it was inspired from the outside. And if not for the West, we probably wouldn't have to kill each other for several years. So, and as for what I think about the clip, that's the perfect representation of what Russia historically stands for. As from the time of Russian Empire through the Soviet Union and now Russian Federation, it's the unity. And what we understand by the word Russian, actually Americans, I think the only nation, Americans, who can understand but refuse to understand the right meaning of our like common name for our nations, is that we observe everyone, and everyone is American. In the case of Russia, everyone is Russian, and you're allowed to keep your way of life, your traditions, your religion, everything, but at the same time you're Chechen, but you're Russian as well. And it's something that you're proud of, it's something that you value, and it's also, when I say we observe other nations, by observing, I don't mean that we are, and that's why we managed our country for centuries, and Americans cannot manage it. We do not convert these people into, being fully Russian, like to convert into Christianity or to refuse their national items, music. No, instead, we enjoy it with them. We dance Lizginka, we eat their food, they eat our food, we celebrate. Now we had Easter, and that's a viral thing nowadays in the social media, that even though it's a Christian holiday, Muslims just love kulicha. That's a special cake, for those who don't understand, only like baked for Easter. But because it's so nice and tasty, Muslims, I don't care, I have a right for kulich, and they eat it with us. So we congratulate each other with Ramadan, with Easter, with all of the holidays. So to be a nation is to be a family. You can disagree sometimes, and that's what happened throughout the history. But at the same time, you do not go against each other. And I know in the West is until today trying to somehow use all these, especially nowadays with SMO, it's a rough time. It's a very rough time. So they're using this ethnic reason for us to kind of have arguments about who has the more rights for this and that. But we do our best to not to follow this. And thanks actually to our Muslim brothers who are not, they do not buy it. And they themselves, and Aliyah also did a good job, and he has a huge platform, and he's very outspoken. But look, you do not use Muslims in your like dirty like info wars. We're not going against our country. Russia is our country, and we are fighting together in SMO, and we are not fighting against each other. So I have to admit, Muslims did a great job in in keeping us together. So yeah, that's basically what this video is standing for: unity.
Absolutely. And I think that you're right. The sectarianism, those sort of ethnic divisions, national divisions, religious divisions have been used as a tool and have been weaponized by the West, the CIA, MI6, now Mossad, to carry out their operations, not only in the Middle East, but around the world. And we've seen that
in America.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen that play out time and time. And now I want to take us to Lebanon, a country that you are deeply in love with, a country that, you started learning Arabic, you fell in love with the resistance there. And I want you to sort of tell us your journey into discovering Lebanon, discovering the resistance, discovering, of course, the late martyr, the Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah.
Oh. It's how to say, I think it was a very organic path, since Russia is fighting in the West, this occupation from the 90s. I mean, we were literally occupied in the 90s. Thank God, I would say that we more or less won this occupation. It's still on, it's in a way continuing until today, but like we cannot compare what it was back then and right now. Now it's more of an ideological thing, like many Russians until today trying to maybe become more European. Like, I don't know, that's our issue. We should go and see a psychologist, I guess. But in any case, with the resistance, with Hezbollah, with Hamas, I think it was, as a Russian, it was a very, very logical path, because, well, first of all, it's my religion as a Christian Orthodox. We stand for oppressed. We do not bomb them. We help them, and to see what they go through, and also that's I think it's a historical trauma of all of the Russians, because we had this great patriotic war with all this concentration camp and slaughter and horrific stuff. And what happened to Gaza? When I witnessed it and learned the whole history of what was done to these people, it's not like many people begin, oh, it's 7th of October. No, it's not 7th. Oh, it's Nakba. No, it's not Nakba. It was before Nakba for decades. So it's like around 100 years of this oppression, grab-landing, this apartheid regime that, because was never punished, grew up in this Israeli state of our days. They can literally right now carpet bomb Lebanon with no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
No one is condemning. I mean, remember what happened to Russia. I think we did kind of pretty good job from the legal point of view, studying SMO. We negotiate, we announced it, we did, all this procedure stuff and stuff like that. So, we are legit. We did a referendum and everything. And look at Israel. They just outspoken said, we need this land for our whatever reason is. We just need it. We have the right. We go and bomb you. What's that? And the worst part is they use religion, not only theirs, but you are Orthodox yourself. They're using our religion to justify this. They're not only using American tax dollars, American weapons. They now, and it started with Iran, openly said, come on, Christians, you not only pay for this, but you also actually call it your own religion war. And this is something far beyond. So you say now that Christ, who was pure love, compassion, and protection for those who are oppressed, is now carpet bombing children and women? And then you mock us with this, with your comparisons to the Mongolians, and then Trump is using I don't know, these fake images of Christ and then calling himself a doctor. This is pure war against Christianity. I know it's a common like idea that Zionists are very much against Muslims, and therefore they're bombing these people, and that's true. They're very outspoken about being, you know, hating Arabs to the level of Hitler somewhere deep in the grave, thinking like I wasn't that bad. And but my strong belief is that the actual enemy of Zionists are Christians. And it's not a very popular idea, but I can prove it. It's Jesus who, according to them, is in the feces for centuries. That's I think, according to their ideology, is like the worst punishment, that he is burning in the feces for centuries with no like you know, getaway. And then Saint Mary, she's a slut, basically, according to them. And this kind of stuff you can only do to those who you hate the most. And they have continuing, they have this absolutely nuts tradition of spitting into Christians. I mean, not collecting coins, you know, but spitting into Christians. And then Netanyahu going live and say, Christians are so loved and so safe in Jerusalem. Really? Well, go and check. We'll see. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's just, we saw it this year, how Christians were trying to get into churches during Easter, and they were beaten and assaulted. So what's that? And one thing that is very common between Ukrainians, and again, that's talking about like how I ended up with the resistance in the Middle East. Well, because I see all these common things between Ukrainians, neo-Nazis, and apartheid regime in Israel. They destroy churches all the time. But in case of Ukrainians, okay, we have few like very old churches, but they are more or less like a couple of centuries old. Okay, we can, I think, survive this. But what Israelis do, they literally destroying places where Christ like did his miracles when he appeared. So you cannot rebuild this. It's ancient. You cannot rebuild it, and they destroy it. So there is nothing left. So why do I support Hezbollah? Well, maybe because Hezbollah protects Christians, and that was recorded and proved 1,000 times. The only reason why Christians are safe in Lebanon is because of Hezbollah. Sometimes Christians are safe, are protected from other Christians, actually, because Lebanon is actually a pretty amazing country. They have these Zayos. Oh my God. They have these Zayos inside the country who so brainwashed, so they believe that those who carpet bomb them will somehow bring them happiness and safety and democracy. I don't know, it's just insane. But Lebanon is a beautiful country, but at the same time a very interesting country. Like, see, like we can look at their government. That's a puppet regime that literally withdraw army from the south. So Israel can easily invade. I mean, even Ukraine, not that crazy. That's just and going back to, I really try to avoid the death of Hassan Nasrallah, because that killed me for like several days. These people have these amazing ideas, and the West is doing an incredibly good job to twist their words or to never air them, so no one is actually hear what they say, and what they say is beautiful. And so I wish Americans would, if they can, please find it was many times translated. Please listen to what Ali Khamenei, Ayatollah, that was also killed by United States and Israel just months ago, just like Hassan Nasrallah. Listen to what they say. These words unite. They don't spread hate. They unite, and they spread like common values that we share. Americans, Christians, like real Christians, not these Zios evangelicals who worship basically Israel. They have no. I think they have no idea what the scripture is all about. They have this Schofield Bible. I think that's
exactly right. I want you to think about that Schofield Bible right now, because look at this image. You talked about this image, right?
Yes,
This is what they believe. This is
yes,
what they believe.
Exactly, because if you look at the backlash in America, and there was a huge backlash, but it was only from the Catholics. These crazy evangelicals, they believe it's true.
And the Orthodox, the Orthodox that's too. Catholics and Orthodox. Yeah.
Yes. But I think it's mainly America is mainly like Protestants and also Catholics, even though I heard that the amount of Orthodox Christians is growing nowadays, but still like we are very like Christians are minor. We are like Shias. Another reason why I stand with Hezbollah, we are minorities inside our own religions. So yeah, I support those who are.
It's true, but take a look at this. We found this image too. This is the real.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because that image with the American flag, to my opinion, wasn't accurate. Yes, Israel flag, of course, because he himself said many times, I am the most Zionist president. I'm the Zionist of all Zionists. I will do whatever for, and he would. I don't know why people are surprised by his actions. I mean, he was literally sponsored by Israel, by all these billionaires from Israel. So to expect anything but blind support for everything that Israel is demanding, it's oh, come on, guys.
I mean, just look at this image. We have Trump saving. I called it. No, it's Epstein. It's Epstein, but it's also like the raising of Epstein, just like the raising of Lazarus. And you have Melania there as the nurse, Ghislaine Maxwell praying, Bibi Netanyahu, and you have, of course, Baal at the top. That's like definitely demonic angelic figure. So this is just.
I think that this is accurate.
It's absolutely disturbing. I have to say, it's absolutely disturbing.
I mean, nowadays Christianity, especially in America, it is disturbing, and that's why, like you said it in the very beginning, that I finally joined your crew of independent journalists. That was the reason, because I saw where we are going and what they are doing, and this is absolutely Zionist. It's Israel behind this. Okay, let's finally use this Christian tool, full power. They're so brainwashed, and this is the right time. So instead of in the history, what do we read in the history book? Like what we will read in the Christian, in the history books in 10-20 years, we will read the quotes from Ministry of Defense in America, from the president, that it's our Christian war, it was our crusade, it was in the interest of God, of like Christ, to go and bomb schools in Iran and kill 168 girls from the age of 7 to 12. So it's not Israel, it's us, it's Christians. That's a very smart job, I must say. And sure. So I really do believe that we need to, like real Christians, Catholic and Orthodox Christian, we need to finally first forget about our fights between who is more right, who is whatever, and finally unite, because the danger is real. Our religion right now is used and abused to torture by the Epstein class, who tortured, raped, and slaughtered girls and boys. And now they're using our religion to slaughter again girls and boys in the Middle East. They did a pretty good job in Gaza. Now it's Iran, in Lebanon. Who else? When they are done with the Middle East,
Yemen, all over. You know?
Yes. And when they are done with the Middle East, who's next? There must be someone else.
Of course, they're coming for us. They're already this war. We've had the great honor of having twice on this program, Andrei Afanasiev from Spas, and he says this special military operation is a sacred war. This is a war of faith in God, of real tradition and values against satanic West, against Satanism. What is? And he even jokes. He says, Ukraine is an Epstein state. Ukraine is
It is. We have Epstein regime in America. We have Epstein country, Ukraine. We have absolutely Nazi apartheid regime in the middle, in Israel. I mean, for decades, the West did a pretty good job of calling Russia regime, China regime, DPRK regime, Iran regime. But nowadays we see like, oh, look, guys, you are a regime yourself. And in this case, it's not just, communist or very religious, kind of strict government with the rules and everything. No, you're a satanic regime, basically, because what you worship is literally devil. We talked before about, do you remember that story with the Jews, with the tunnels and in that, like in New York? That was forgotten like within 2 days. But I found a podcast with one of those rabbis, and he admitted himself, like, yes, all this blood on those mattresses and and this disgusting stuff that accidentally was discovered. It was an accident. No one supposed to knew about these tunnels and everything.
Interesting accident.
And he said, yes, we do sacrifices. We do sacrifices. And it's not the first time. It is recorded many times until like a few days ago. Like these crazy settlers in the West Bank, they they were carrying this lamb for God knows how many, like what was the like 1,065 like try of them to bring this lamb into Al-Aqsa Mosque and do the sacrifice. Are we in the medieval times? Do we do sacrifices? And who else do we sacrifice? I mean, at the Epstein island, we did sacrifice girls and boys. Who else do we sacrifice now? I mean, I don't believe that we end up only with lambs. It's for official version. But what's going on behind the closed doors?
Yeah.
And by the way, even if it's only lambs, what kind of religion? Come on.
You're right. You're absolutely
right. What for? And by the way, aren't they were abounded because of these worshipping and sacrifices and everything, and their refusal for accepting God as their like true savior? So do they learn the lesson? They say like, okay, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, we were promised this land. Yeah, but you also were told that you should now worship Baal and all these, satanic cults. So you remember about the promised land, but you don't remember about stop worshiping devil. Maybe learn again the lesson and finally become, a decent society, part of society who don't bomb children and do not grab lands.
You're right.
Then,
I want to pause you there because I want to play a few clips here, and then I want your reaction to them. And I think that everyone will know what we are showing here because we've played it on DD Geopolitics before. But I want for our new viewers and listeners to take a watch and listen.
أنا أسأل سؤالا هنا. المسيح الذي نقرأ عنه في الإنجيل وفي القرآن وفي سيرته وفي أخلاقه وفي قيمه، المسيح الذي سيعود عودته إلى الدنيا، نصير من سيكون؟ هذا المسيح الذي تعملون ليعود سيكون نصير من؟ هل سيكون نصير الطغاة والعتاة والجبابرة والفراعنة؟ هل سيكون نصير وعون للقتلة المتوحشين المجرمين الذين يسفكون دماء ملايين البشر من أجل السيطرة على النفط والمال والأسواق؟ هل سيكون نصير وعون أولئك قساة القلوب الذين يهدرون الكثير من أرزاق هذه الأرض ومن قمحهم ليحافظوا على سعره وعلى قيمته بالدولار في الوقت الذي يموت فيه عشرات ملايين من الجوع في العالم؟ هل هذا هو عيسى ابن مريم؟ أم أن المسيح الذي نعرفه ويعرفه المسيحيون سيكون نصير الحفاة والضعفاء والفقراء والمساكين والمستضعفين والمعذبين والمظلومين؟ سيكون نصير من؟
So there you have it. That's the first clip I want to play. What's your thoughts on that? I want your reaction to that.
Well, first of all, this is the reason why I strongly believe that people in the West should go and check and find Hassan Nasrallah with the subtitles, so you understand why I'm saying that these people are inspiring in the in the best way. And another thing about this particular video, they not only respect Christ, they are waiting for him to return, because he will lead alongside with their Messiah, Mahdi. They will fight together to defeat the Antichrist and to bring peace and joy and all of the good stuff. So these people not only respect our Christ and Mary as well. She's I think it's the whole chapter in Quran that only for Maryam, and that's how they call Jesus Isa and Saint Mary Maryam. They call, I mean, these are the most, or one of the most respectful characters in the whole Holy Quran. And what Hassan Nasrallah said is just it's portraying what they believe in the best way. That's what they believe. They believe in Christ, maybe in a slightly different way than we do, but compare it. One believe that he is in the feces. God forbid for saying this. And then another one is believing that he's a savior alongside Mahdi, and that he's a saint. Feel the difference. So my question now, who are the enemy? Who we are fighting for? Maybe the fact that in Quran Jesus is so respected is one of the reasons why for centuries some lobbies did a pretty good job to trying to make us always fight and never learn and never read books of one another. I'm sorry. Oh my God, something wrong with my lightning. And so yeah, basically that's it. The reason for that is to divide us, so we do not unite. We fight each other, and that's what happened with us for years. They even created this jihadist group that's also do not learn their own book, because everything that they fight for, as they say, it goes against their own religion. Just like with these radical evangelicals that create their own Bibles that has nothing to do with Christian values. And it's wild to understand that Muslim Shia know the purpose of our faith better than some Americans. Oh, well, it doesn't matter, the Protestant, the evangelicals, or Zionists, as a whole. So that's a wild thing to think of. Muslims know Bible better than we do.
Let me play the next clip while you work on your lighting situation.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Let me play the next clip, and I'll get your thoughts on this one.
في أيامنا تختلط الأفراح بالأحزان، ولكن هكذا عشنا وهكذا نبقى نعيش. نبارك للمسيحيين والمسلمين جميعا وللبنانيين خصوصا عيد ميلاد السيد المسيح عليه السلام، الذي نرى إن شاء الله في عودته إلى هذه الدنيا بشارة الخلاص لكل المظلومين والمستضعفين والمعذبين والمقهورين في هذا العالم. أيضا نبارك للجميع بداية العام الميلادي الجديد، ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يعين الجميع ليتغلبوا على تحديات الحياة المتنوعة الأمنية والسياسية والاقتصادية والمعيشية والحياتية، وأن يقضوا هذا العام أفضل مما كانت عليه الأعوام السابقة.
So there we have Martyr Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah extending his congratulations to both Muslims and Christians on the occasion of Christmas, on the occasion of the birth of Christ. And actually, during the war that was imposed by the US and Israel a second time, this war of choice, this war of aggression against Iran by the Zionists and the Americans, I posted when news came out originally that former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad had been, according to reports, killed. I reposted his video from Christmas from I think 2019. It went viral. It had over 1 million views because people were shocked that the president of Iran, the former president, was wishing Christians a Merry Christmas and speaking about how important Christ was, and Christ for the oppressed, and Christ is seen as the Messiah for them as well. So this is really very, very important, and a lot of people don't understand that. They assume because the West does a very good job of doing this, that Shia are equal to Wahhabi and Salafi, that somehow they're all the same, they're all lumped in together, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And in fact, the most victims of Wahhabis and Salafis have been other Muslims, especially Shia Muslims. So that's important to know. But what do you make of this? How do you feel as a Russian Orthodox Christian when you hear the words of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah wishing you and all other Christians, a Merry Christmas, basically?
I will disappoint you in this because I am from Russia. Our president and our religion leader constantly congratulating everyone, both Muslims and Christians and Buddhists, all of the guys, at the latest, I don't remember what was for, but VVP directly congratulated and thanked Muslim communities for keeping traditional family values for all of the Russians, because definitely ethnic Russians don't do their job properly. So he was like, thank you particularly for doing this hard work of, keeping family together. So for me, it's okay. But I believe for the West, that would be surprising. I remember when the viral clip of past Charlie Kirk, that he was assassinated right after he began to realize some stuff. And I remember the video, and that's, I think, represent the ignorance of the West like perfectly. He was talking to some Muslim, I think he was Palestinian, and he was Christian. And he was like, I'm Christian. He was like, so you converted? I'm like, no, I'm born Christian from Palestine. He's like, what? And you cannot fake it. You cannot play it. Kirk couldn't believe that he's speaking to someone who was born a Christian, lived, whole life, and his family for centuries being Christians in the Middle East with no consequences, with no problems, no nothing. Another example, a metro station in Tehran. In Russia, we are the biggest Orthodox, country. We don't have a metro station that, belongs to Christ and Mary. We don't have it. Iran has it. We don't have it. They have, big communities of Christians all over the place. In Lebanon, even in Gaza, that was bombed, and Russian Christians as well. They refuse to leave. They say it's our house, it's our home. We don't want to go anywhere. So would you believe that someone who is oppressed wouldn't use the opportunity to leave the country that's been bombed to smithereens? Definitely, probably not. But they refuse because there is no threat to them. On the contrary, we see Jerusalem, democratic state of Israel, the only what is it? Maybe usually say the only democratic state since the in the Middle East. Oh, thing, keep it to yourself, please. Don't spread it anywhere. Christians are attacked. Christians are spit on. What's that? We have a whole metro station in the terrible, dictatorship of Iran, and we have Christians who are beaten up in Israel, in Jerusalem. Make it make sense.
Yeah, and I want to play one last clip here that I think will really be poignant here. So that was at the funeral, which I was at. I was there. Many of us were there. And we saw so many Christians from all of the different Christian branches, especially Orthodox Christians and Catholics, who came out in support of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, who commemorated him, who were at the funeral. We saw even Christian leaders, Orthodox bishops, priests. So it's very important, and that woman was holding that banner, basically saying, by the cross and Christ, we will we're going to continue this, and we are with you. So that's very important. That's very important to think about and to look at, to understand that it's not only. And now we have, by the way, because you are big now on Instagram, we had the post of I believe it was an Armenian Christian who was killed in the ranks of Hezbollah. And his sister, she actually liked my response. I sent her a message underneath that photo. But I was very happy to see that beautiful message that he didn't die in a sectarian way. He died defending the nation. And the nation is being carried by the resistance, which is Hezbollah, and the Muslims who are there, Sunni and Shia, and the Christians who are there, and Druze and others who are there.
Israeli propaganda would be very, very disappointed by this announcement that it was not a Muslim Shia that they try to portray, like it's only like the minority, it's this terror organization and blah, blah, blah. No, he was Orthodox Christian who fought for his land and his country. And I have salute to Clara. I have a friend. She is Muslim Shia. She lives in Lebanon. She lives in Beirut, constantly bombed by Israelis. And you know what? This is amazing. These people are undefeated because of, again, because they believe in God. And I believe that if you have this strong faith inside you, you cannot be defeated. So this girl being bombed every single day was saying sorry to me because she was a few hours late to congratulate me with Easter. She was like, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I should have texted you before. It's just that, this mess with this war and everything. I was like, are you saying sorry for being a few hours late with my Easter? And she was like, I wish when you arrive, and I'm coming to Lebanon, I hope pretty soon. Next year we can celebrate Easter without this, all this mess. And because she loves this idea, like tradition with eggs and fighting with eggs and everything. And she is, again, Muslim Shia. She lives in a Christian area. And yes, for those who do not know, there are special areas, not because it's a concentration camp. No, it's because for them to feel comfortable to wear, shirts, skirts and everything, to go clubbing every single night. And that's what we do, I guess, as unfortunately Christians. That's our basic routine. But yeah, so they are like freely can express themselves in all of the ways, and also all of the churches are just on the corner just. So she is a Shia. She lives there because she loves her friends who are Christians that much. Where is the division? Where is the danger to Christians? Where is it? They are crying over our churches being bombed by Israelis who say that they are good friends of Christians. Make it make sense.
Difficult to do. Very difficult. You're getting a lot of love in the chat, by the way. A lot of people are saying, who's this beautiful girl? She's so smart. She's so wonderful, amazing guest. Thank you all. We're going to have Yana on. Don't worry. We'll have her on again. And I'm going to share with you before we end this, her social media, which hopefully she'll build up. I think she's going to be a very powerful voice in the English language media for the anti-imperialist cause, for the cause of the resistance, and for humanity. But one important thing that I want to emphasize is that these divisions are completely artificial. And as we pointed out throughout this whole stream, these divisions are artificial. They are used and weaponized to divide us when we are a lot closer. We've been neighbors, we've been intermarried, you know, my family story. And there's peace. There's peace in the household. There's peace and respect and love. And I think that that's very important to note here. Before we end the stream, I want to give you the last word here. What are your next plans? What are you looking forward to? And what are your parting messages to our viewers and listeners on this stream?
Read, study, learn the scriptures, yours and your brothers in faith, and but just be careful with the translations. If you have Muslim friends, ask them like which translation to get, because Quran is in Arabic, and I doubt that many of us know Arabic. So just be careful with the source of information. But yeah, study more, so you would be hard to brainwashed. They use our lack of understanding each other to fool us and drag us into these non-stopping wars. But once we learn information, it is really hard to bullshit us. Look at what's happening right now with Americans. From the 7th of October, and do you remember how it started? It was like full support for Israel. Bomb them, not a single tear for Palestinians. Look now. Democrats are like furious about their own representatives. And they say, if you do not deny any help for Israel, if you don't abandon Israel at all, we do not vote for you. That's their demand. And even Republicans who are that's a historical fact, they're very pro-Israel throughout the history, even them begin to question what exactly we are supporting here. And it's because they learn new information. It's because, and I must say, Iran did a pretty good job in this info war to present themselves as a very intelligent people. And once you see them not as a terrorist who running around with AK and stuff, but being very smart, with a sense of humor and irony, and just badass and chic, it's hard to believe again that these are jihadis from the bushes. They doesn't sound. On the contrary, some American politicians looks like jihadis from the bushes. So that's my message. Learn, 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 learn.
Truer words have never been spoken. What are your upcoming plans for our viewers and listeners who can start to follow your work? What are your plans for the coming months? What do you hope to do?
I really hope that I can come and join our mutual friends in Lebanon, because I believe that the biggest fight right now is ongoing over there. And I wish as many voices, and I think we will work on this, to bring as many voices to Lebanon right now that is right now facing horrific bombardment. And one of the strongest attempts, not the first one, but one of the strongest attempts from Israel to conquer the southern part and to occupy it. And before we have Gaza 2.0, and we already allowed, and that's a fact, we allowed these people to, to be genocided and to lose everything, basically. We cannot let this happen to Lebanon. And Lebanon is, it's not Iran. Iran is a sovereign country with the army, air defense, and everything. Lebanon, their country, their government. It's a puppet regime that right now, in Washington, negotiating with Israelis, and basically the demand of Israel is this: you either let us bomb your people, or you join us and you bomb them together. What the government is that? They're enemies. They are more Mossad than Mossad. So we have Lebanon that has no government that would stand for them, has no army that would stand for them. They only have Hezbollah. And I mean, the main goal right now is to bring the truth about the about the resistance, what it actually is, and what these people stand for to the West. So maybe one day your tax dollars won't finance the war against these people that actually protecting with their bodies our Christian faith. We should, pay our debts. We should do something for these people. As Christians, I believe we should help them because it is our Christian civilization that is ruining their life. So that's my goal, to go and to help those of our colleagues who are already trying to do some work on the ground.
Excellent. And where can people find you? We'll put some links, but where can people find you? Where can people start following you?
I was so bad with my, with my social media, but I'll do my best to be better. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter from today, and Instagram from a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I begin to work on it.
Everyone, go search for Yana Shumovska over there, and definitely like and follow and share
and subscribe.
Subscribe, everything. Do everything that you can do. Thank you again, Yana, for joining us tonight. It was a real pleasure to have you. Look forward to our continued work together.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Like always.
Of course. Take care.
Take care.
So there you have Yana Shumovska. Please make sure that you go and follow all of her great work. Now, again, tomorrow, Sarah and I will be with the one and only Professor Syed Mohammed Marandi, live from Tehran, to speak about the talks in Islamabad and what's to come afterwards, now with this ongoing blockade in the Sea of Oman. Let's see what's happening. Make sure to tune in. We had 2,400 people here tonight. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in, and look forward to seeing you all again. We have a great show on Endgame coming up on Thursday. We're going to have a whole episode dedicated to Lebanon, hopefully. So we look forward to speaking to our colleagues from Lebanon. And in the upcoming weeks, make sure to tune in. There's going to be a lot coming and a lot of good things. We're bringing it to you all live and as fast as we can here on the Chris Lally Show, part of DD Geopolitics. Continue to stay tuned and make sure you spread the word. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful night. Take care. Stay open. Stay sharp. Keep reading. Keep studying. And victory is ours, ultimately. Take care.